So let's talk about something that sounds, well, a little weird at first. Using a psychological therapy to treat very real physical pain. We're going to dive into how retraining your brain can actually, fundamentally, change how your body experiences chronic pain.
It's a fantastic question, isn't it? I mean, when your back is screaming at you or a migraine hits, you're probably thinking about a pill, not a therapist. So why do so many top experts point to therapy as a frontline treatment? Well, that's what we're here to unpack.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of the problem. For a lot of people, chronic pain isn't just a simple feeling. As you can see in this model, an injury can kick off a serious chain reaction. If that pain leads to a fear of more pain, it can spiral into this really nasty, vicious cycle. You start avoiding things, which leads to disuse, depression, disability, and here's the crazy part, it can lead to even more pain.
Now, a huge driver of that negative cycle is something called pain catastrophizing. This is basically when our thoughts just run away from us. We start blowing the threat way out of proportion, we can't stop thinking about it, and we feel totally and completely helpless. It's a thought pattern that's like pouring gasoline on the fire of chronic pain.
And this is the trap. You know, when you can't function like you used to, it can affect your identity, your job, your relationships, everything. But here's the paradox, right? The one thing that feels like the most logical thing to do, to just stop and rest, is often the very thing that makes it all worse. That avoidance causes stiffness and weakness, which just fuels the pain you were trying to get away from in the first place.
So if you're stuck in that trap, how on earth do you get out? Well, that's where this new approach comes in. It's all about rethinking your entire relationship with pain.
And this brings us to cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. For a whole range of pain issues, this is recognized as the gold standard psychological treatment. It's a pretty focused, goal-oriented approach that helps people manage their problems by changing, you guessed it, the way they think and the way they behave.
This slide, right here, shows you the core engine of how CBT works. It helps us crack that vicious cycle we were just talking about. See how it works? Our thoughts create our feelings. Our feelings then drive our behaviors, and our behaviors loop back and reinforce those original thoughts. CBT jumps right into this loop to short-circuit that negative spiral and helps you build a positive one instead.
So what does this actually look like? CBT isn't just talking about your feelings. It's a very structured therapy that gives you a whole toolkit of practical, real-world skills to manage your pain. And it's a really methodical process, usually somewhere between 5 and 20 sessions, so it's not some endless thing. It starts with assessment, then moves to this absolutely crucial step, reconceptualizing your pain. This is where you learn to see it through a biopsychosocial lens, understanding it's not just a physical thing, but an experience shaped by your thoughts and emotions. Then you get to the good stuff, acquiring and practicing new skills, applying them to your life, and following up to make sure they stick.
So, what's actually in this toolkit? Well, here are some of the heavy hitters. You learn how to restructure your thoughts, how to reactivate your life with activities that matter to you, and how to use relaxation to deal with physical tension. It's really a multi-pronged attack on all the factors that keep pain going.
Let's zoom in on one of the most powerful tools in the box, cognitive restructuring. This is where you basically become a detective for your own mind. You learn how to spot those irrational or catastrophic thoughts about your pain, challenge them head-on, and then replace them with more realistic and helpful ones.
And this is a perfect example of how it works. On the left, you've got this thought that just leads to despair. This pain will ruin my life. But after you do the work of cognitive restructuring, you can reframe it into something empowering, like the thought on the right. I can find ways to manage this pain and still enjoy life. The point isn't to be fake positive, it's about being balanced and finding a path forward.
Okay, so after all this work, what's the actual payoff? Well, the evidence shows it's not just about feeling a little bit better, it's about literally taking your life back from pain. And the research here is super clear. Look, CBT might not make the pain vanish completely, but it can turn the volume way down. But the benefits go so much further. It helps with the anxiety and depression that often come along for the ride. It helps you actually get back to doing things. And it gives you this incredible sense of empowerment and control, which can even mean relying less on things like pain medications. And what's amazing is how well this approach works across so many different kinds of chronic pain, from issues like back pain and arthritis to really complex conditions like fibromyalgia and even cancer-related pain. These skills work because they target the brain's response to pain signals, whatever their source. This quote just nails the whole philosophy, doesn't it? It's not about passively waiting for a cure, it's about you actively participating in your own healing. CBT gives you the tools to rewrite your story, to change your behaviors, and to build the resilience you need to live a full life, even with pain as a passenger.
So to wrap this up, let's leave you with a little something to think about. You don't have to fix everything at once. Thinking about that principle of behavioral activation, what's just one small, enjoyable, or meaningful activity that pain has kind of stolen from you that you could carefully and gradually reintroduce into your life this week? That's the first step. That's how it starts.